Coming up in this webisode of Waverly Village Council.
Harvey looked at the budget and he realized that the general fund is depleting in cash. So he said it had to be cut somewhere since nothing else was cut. So he was cutting the lines in the general fund.
And I think there should have been conversation with the mayor and the department heads before the auditor arbitrarily made these decisions.
I think it's totally unfair to bring this to us this evening.
We've got 12 months to get something done, and we wait until 6 weeks. It's ridiculous, and it's not smart, and it's irresponsible as all get out.
This should have been brought to the second reading, not waited till the third.
Why didn't you guys do something about the first and
You
second
approved
reading?
ours.
How do you think you get your things every month? You get a report.
That's not what we're talking about, Ellen. That's not what we're talking about.
Yes, it is. You need
No,
to look
it's
at your
not.
paperwork.
When a person learns that they have cancer, it's overwhelming. Their life changes. I volunteer because of cancer in my own family. My brother had cancer, and I just want to give back what I saw done for members in my own family. SOMC Cancer Center has some advantages that I think you won't find other places. It's all here under one roof. The patients come in and out with smiles on their face. It's being done right here in our own little town of Portsmouth.
The SOMC Cancer Center. Very good things are happening here.
Harvey looked at the budget and he realized that the general fund is depleting in cash. So he said it had to be cut somewhere since nothing else was cut. So he was cutting the lines in the general fund.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. Because no one was consulted about who should be reduced or how it should be reduced or anything. And we've not had an opportunity to look at it. I would like to again table both 66 and 67 until the next meeting, and have the department heads, myself be involved, which I was not. And
I appreciate the fact that the auditor recognizes we need to do something.
well, I agree.
But by the same token, I think there should have been conversation with the mayor and the department heads before the auditor arbitrarily made these decisions.
And Harvey gave you guys the opportunity. You had a meeting and you did nothing. And he said the general fund is depleting drastically and there's no money there to spend. So why not cut the lines? You're going to be cutting it anyway.
But before this was distributed, it should have been discussed with the mayor, it should have been discussed with the department heads, the specifics. And
The general fund has nothing to do with the department heads except some of the transfer money.
Well, transfer money is significant to a couple of the departments.
Well, if there's no cash
Therefore,
there.
I would move that both ordinance, well, we have to take them one at a time.
And if you don't approve it, it's supposed to stand approved 30 days before it goes in effect. It has to be approved or it's no good. It won't be in effect January 1st. That's why you have 3 readings.
So if it is tabled until December the 6th and it is approved at that time, what happens?
It's supposed to stand 30 days before it takes effect.
So it'd be after basically the first week
That's why they always do it the third reading or the second meeting in November.
Well, I guess, do we need to discuss this, you know, versus the other budget, just to look through all the cuts? I mean, the thing is, I think Harvey's done exactly what his job requires him to do.
But it's my job as well.
Yeah, and the problem is time frame to review. Do we want to, first of all, do we need to have, if we don't approve it tonight, do we need a special meeting before December 1st to approve it? Is the one question. And do we want to sit down and look line for line? Because here's the amount, and it is reduced, but the original, you know, I don't see what is reduced from beside this.
I think it's totally unfair to bring this to us this evening and expect us to discuss these things and try to hash it out and look at it, you know, and know what to do tonight. If we have to have a special meeting, then we'll have a special meeting. Again, I have tried and tried and tried to tell everybody on council, to tell the auditor's office and everybody else that I am available on Mondays all day. Not one time does anybody ever try to set up a meeting when I can be available at a meeting. It's always done on a time where it's going to cost me a day's vacation from the plan, and I don't get that many days vacation. And
well, this is put off every year like this. I don't know how many times that we are up against the wall around here, and then you got to make rash decisions that don't have any thought put to them. You know, we still got part-time people in a parks department working in November, for crying out loud. And I'm smart enough to realize that we don't have the money, and I understand I got to cut my budget. But this crap is swinging by the seat of our pants every year. We've got 12 months to get something done, and we wait until 6 weeks. So we're right down against the wall every time getting this kind of stuff done. It's ridiculous, and it's not smart, and it's irresponsible as all get out.
it's council's pleasure what they, you know, I don't have a vote, so.
Yeah, but you have input.
You can approve the old one if you want to approve the old one, but when it comes in March, when we get the thing from Ted, it's going to be cut somewhere.
It's going to be cut anyway.
It's going to be cut.
You know, that's why, you know, it does not make sense to me to do a budget in January when we don't even have the numbers from the county auditor as to what we can.
He doesn't get the numbers until I give him the end of the year. So you
I
don't
have
have anything
said,
to operate on.
I have said ever since that I've been the mayor that if we don't get the numbers till March, don't do a budget till March. Run it.
You have to have a budget to work on.
Well, we can run it from March to March.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense because constantly we are changing, making amendments to our budget. You know, I would venture to say that we probably amended the budget 10 times last year.
When he gives you something in March, you're still going to amend it again.
Probably. But
So
at least we
what's
have
different?
concrete figures to know that this is how much we're going to be getting from the.
You basically have concrete now. They know what they've spent. They can base their budgets on what they've already spent this year and what they anticipate they're going to have to pay.
Then why do we not get the numbers in January or in December so we can legitimately know, look, the numbers is my point.
This should have been brought to the second reading, not waited till the third.
Why didn't you guys do something about the
You
first and second
approved
reading?
ours. You just changed the general
I
fund.
didn't approve them.
Everybody's
I don't
budget.
change yours.
That's right. Everybody's
doesn't
budget's
change
approved. The only thing you changed was this general fund
The general
transfer.
fund, because that's what Harvey has control over.
So that should have been changed before the last reading. If Harvey thought that he was going to have to cut the transfer line, that should have been done for the second reading, so council had time to discuss it, Alan.
Well, we had a finance meeting here, and he could not.
And he didn't even have a budget done.
One question was asked.
Guys, don't pick on Harvey.
Okay, you didn't have the numbers done, Ellen.
I have the number. Where do you think you get your things every month? You get a report.
That's not what we're talking about, Ellen. That's
Yes,
not
it
what
is.
we're talking about.
Yes, it is. You need
No,
to look
it's
at your
not.
paperwork.
We have to decide whether you're going to pass this, whether you
As is, or with this one, with the original one, or if we want to have a special meeting and hash through it. I mean, that's.
Thing is, the way it's standing right now,
Yeah.
they're showing the reduction in the general fund and transfer line in Bridget Street, but yet they didn't change my budget. How's that possible?
It's got to change with it.
It's got to change with it. Because I was including that amount of transfers in my budget, but it didn't change. So how's that possible? How do you just change the transfer line?
Well, here's kind of part of the challenge too. If you were told today to just blankly reduce by 15–20%, you go back and do that budget, what would you come back up with? Once you've got this target, is it doable within your budget?
Not with the personnel.
And I don't think we can solve, I honestly feel like we're looking at a special meeting to go through it where you guys have at least a week to see where it puts you. Because really, our general fund, the last couple meetings, it's kind of avalanched. And this is a reaction to that. It's dropped more, I think, recently, and it's triggered some alarms.
And you're right, Greg. We're all smart enough to realize that there are going to have to be measures.
No, I agree with what Dick said.
It's going to happen.
Harvey did a good thing because he realized that we could not operate this way. There had to be some changes made, but again, one person can't make that call.
Right. So here's the thing.
There has to be other people involved in the discussion and how we proceed with the thing.
In order to table it, it has to be due to the overwhelming amount of time it would take. Honestly, not table it, but not to do it on the third reading night. I personally think we're there, that we can't. You know what, I'm thinking if you take the original one, and you take this one, and you make a decision on either or, we're probably wrong.
That's my point though, Greg. I'm going back to exactly what Dick said. If you're going to make changes on the third reading paper, you should be passing what was done on the second.
Yeah.
Because you can't make changes on the third reading. There's no way that should be done. There's not been any discussion about it. There's not been any investigation on what needs to be changed.
Right.
So it needs to be just passed on what was at the second reading. And then if we need to change it, we'll change it in March whenever Teddy approves the budget.
I guess the only
We do
fear is
that
if
year after
it's...
year after year anyways.
So we'd have 3 months potentially budgeted unrealistically at higher numbers. And if we do that...
How many years did we run March, John? 10, 15 years since me and you've been here.
Did you actually used to run March to March?
Yeah, we ran March. And probably, I'm going to guess,
That's when you were
12
on
years
the
ago
cash.
they changed it.
That's when you were on cash basis. We're not on cash basis anymore, and it is required that you do it year to year. January.
You can have fiscal year set up any day, any month you want, Ellen.
Well, then talk to the state.
We're getting ready to pass the budget, and we won't even know what insurance is till February 1st.
Well, the bottom line is, if there's no money there, it's not going to be transferred anyway.
Well, and that's the thing, I guess what I'll get to, no matter what we do and approve it, if you guys have a budget, let's say it's higher than what we know is coming in, your spending of things are
You
still
pass
going to
this
be longer
budget,
for
we
2
actually
months,
get
right?
more money than what Harvey's
can't
shown
spend it.
us. We can't increase it.
I know.
So you need to change it.
You can too.
You can't increase
Well, you
that
have to-
part.
Oh,
You
yeah,
gotta
yes,
go
you
through
can.
and do
It
the
can
whole
be
amendment.
It can be amended by resolution.
So then what's the point? It can be amended the other way too.
As long as you don't spend it when it's not there, it's the only fear.
So
If you
what's
guys
the
get in a
argument?
mad rush to spend your share before the other guy gets, it's where we have a
Boys,
problem.
you can budget $100 million.
You ain't got the money.
But if you ain't got the money, you can't spend it, so it don't really matter. You can still budget it.
Well, I guess the only thing is those first couple of months will be the line transfers. If you're budgeted higher, if we approve the other one. I mean, we're just going to have to be cautious and probably if we do that, ask you guys to, I mean, you know for a fact, because we've done it before. Bare minimum until March, just for the fear that, if something drops off and then you never know what's going to come back from Teddy also, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that number's, we've done it
It's going to be
before.
cut because we know that we're losing at least $310,000 from the tangible personal properties.
Yeah. And as
At
supervisor,
least that, plus whatever you've lost from your city income tax.
You've got spending limits anyway as a department head, right?
Yeah.
So we'll just cautiously, you're thinking cautiously proceed until March and then make the amendments? Because I'm not so sure, you know, this is necessarily a bad thing, but it may need tweaked, but it's something, do we still want to get together and look at it? At what point do we look at it then? Let's say we do approve the original as it stands. I guess at the very least, do we just get a brief
It's a
update
lot
on?
easier to take away later than it is to try to have.
Yeah.
Same paperwork. Same
Yeah,
time.
because they did change it. We have to do everything, even those little line transfers now
It's the
through
same,
motion.
same paperwork, same timeline, regardless of where you're adding or taking away.
See, it used to be we could do, change items within those individual funds
They were-
without
State doesn't allow us
official
to do
motions,
that.
and now we have to do all that. Well, we get that monthly report, percent of spend per year, right? So,
You get one every month. In fact, you
Yeah.
got one in your
that's
packet.
why I said we'll see that January, February, I mean, your percent of spend. The only thing is, if we go forward with a budget that might be in place, we'd have to do communication, it's just gonna be the key thing. I mean, if you got something coming up, and I think you guys have been there before, so. It's council's pleasure. We've discussed about either tabling it and trying to hash it out to numbers, approving the one from the second reading, and you have the new one in front of you, so. As it's read, it's with the one for the second reading, so. Council as a whole needs to decide whether to go ahead and vote on this as third reading. And if so, whether to vote it as presented originally or with the new one. So what's the pleasure of council?
I suppose I would be more comfortable with just passing the original, and that gives the mayor and department heads time to take a serious look at their departments and their expenditures, and then be prepared in March to adjust the budget.
I guess my only question is, what time do we review all that if you guys look over it? I mean, obviously, we know we're gonna operate on less. So I don't know if there's an actual budget versus what you think you can get by with. So right now, we're reading it for Dick's recommendation to go with the original setting of the general fund that we had at the first and second reading. Anyone wish to change that? We'd have to have a motion to accept the new one. Okay, so with that being said, do we have a motion to accept ordinance 66, 2011 as originally presented?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion?